Welcome to the Jim Thomas Gym Success Podcast, powered by maxmembers.ai. Welcome to all of our listeners, gym owners, gym operators, managers, salespeople, gym entrepreneurs, and personal trainers. And for you folks looking to open a new gym, acquire a gym, or need working capital, we can provide funding options up to $500K. It's unsecured and no restriction on use. Check us out at fmconsulting.net.
I'm Bonnie.
I'm George, and we'll be taking you through the white paper today by Jim Thomas. Our goal is to provide you with actionable insights. So imagine pouring, a decade of blood, sweat, and tears into building this massive fitness facility. You've sacrificed your weekends, missed family events.
Yeah, the typical founder grind.
Exactly. And you've poured every ounce of your energy into making this place incredible. But then finally, you decide you're ready to step away.
Right.
You list the business for sale, expecting this massive payday, and, well, you hear absolute silence, just crickets.
Yeah, that happens so often.
Or worse, the only people who actually reach out are these tire kickers offering you, insultingly low numbers.
Yeah.
So today we are looking at Jim Thomas's white paper, The 5 Things That Make a Gym Impossible to Ignore When It's Time to Sell.
It really is a masterclass.
It is, and the central tension here is this painful illusion of value, right?
Yeah, totally. It truly is a devastating reality check for so many founders. You see, owners naturally tie the value of their gym to the tangible assets, right? And to their own personal effort.
Oh, for sure, like the equipment in the space.
Exactly. They look at the brand new row of curved treadmills, the massive square footage, or maybe the expensive locker room build out, or just the sheer number of 80-hour weeks they've worked.
Right, they feel like they've earned that valuation.
They do. But Jim Thomas lays out this cold, hard truth. Buyers are not buying treadmills, they aren't buying dumbbells or saunas or rubber flooring. I mean, they can buy all of that from a catalog, right?
Wow, yeah, that's a harsh way to look at it, but it's true.
When a sophisticated buyer looks at a fitness facility, they are buying predictable revenue. And above all, they are buying risk reduction.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the very first pillar Thomas outlines, the thing that absolutely destroys a gym's value, is something that I think is going to shock a lot of listeners.
It usually does.
Yeah. The biggest liability in the business is actually the owner themselves. But I have to push back on this a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Think of a highly successful boutique gym, like a high-end sports car. Isn't the passionate, dedicated owner essentially the engine of that car?
That's a common way to think about it.
Right. Like if you have an owner who is deeply involved, who is out on the floor, greeting everyone by name, shaking hands, personally closing all the high-ticket training packages, shouldn't that level of charisma make the gym, significantly more valuable?
What's fascinating here is that you've just perfectly described the exact scenario that terrifies a potential buyer.
Wait, really? Terrifies them?
Oh, absolutely. You are talking about the concept of transferability. And transferability is, well, arguably the single most important metric in any business valuation.
Okay.
If the success of that gym is entirely trapped inside the current owner's personality, their memory, their local relationships, their daily hustle.
None of it scales.
Right. None of that transfers to the new owner at the closing table.
Wait, I want to make sure I'm wrapping my head around this.
Yeah.
Are you saying that by being a great hands-on owner, I'm actually making my business unsellable?
In a way, yeah. Because when that charismatic owner walks out the door for the last time, the engine of your sports car just walked out with them.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it like that.
Right. The buyer looks at that dynamic and sees massive flashing red light risk. They realize they aren't actually buying a turnkey revenue-generating asset.
They're buying a job.
Exactly. They are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy themselves a highly stressful, demanding job where they have to somehow replace a local celebrity.
I see. So the buyer's looking at the operation and thinking, what happens on day one when the famous founder isn't at the front desk?
Bingo.
Do half the loyal members cancel their memberships? Does the sales process just completely collapse because no one else knows how to close a deal?
Exactly. A sophisticated buyer wants a machine. And I want to be clear, that doesn't mean a cold, corporate, soulless environment where nobody cares about the members.
Sure. It still needs a soul.
Right. It means a business driven by standard operating procedures, or SOPs. During due diligence, a buyer is going to ask some very pointed questions.
What kind of questions?
Well, they want to know, Who physically unlocks the doors at 5 a.m.? Who handles the angry member who wants a refund?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, who is actively checking the equipment cables for safety issues? Who trains the new front desk staff on the software?
And if the answer to every single one of those questions is the owner, the deal is dead in the water.
It is an absolute deal killer. The owner has inadvertently become the system. If you want to know exactly where you stand right now, Thomas provides this incredibly clarifying test question. Every listener should ask themselves this today.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the test?
If I stepped away for 2 weeks to go on vacation with zero phone, zero text, and zero email contact, what would break in my gym?
Man, that is a terrifying scenario for most entrepreneurs.
Right. Just complete silence for 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you imagine sitting on a beach in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and on day 2, the treadmill belt snaps,
Yep.
and on day 4, a key trainer quits. If your phone is blowing up because no one knows what to do,
Yeah.
that is a failure of transferability.
Exactly. Whatever breaks, whatever grinds to a halt while you're gone, that is exactly where your business lacks systems.
Which means that's where your valuation is bleeding out.
Precisely. You're losing money on the sale before you even list it.
Okay, so if a buyer sees that the business can survive the 2-week test, they believe the operation can actually run without you.
Right. That's step one.
So once that operational trust is established, the immediate next hurdle is proving the machine actually makes the money you claim it does.
Yes. We are transitioning from operational risk to financial risk.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because Thomas points out that relying solely on basic membership dues is actually a massive trap.
Oh, it's a huge trap. It leaves you entirely exposed to market forces outside your control. Let's talk about EFT memberships.
And for anyone newer to the administrative side of the industry, EFT stands for Electronic Funds Transfer. It's the lifeblood of most gyms.
Right, those monthly automatic drafts hitting checking accounts or credit cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, most people think having thousands of EFT memberships is the holy grail. But if 95% of your revenue is coming from $40 a month basic access memberships, a buyer immediately sees vulnerability.
Because what happens when a shiny new, massive, big box franchise opens up a mile down the road?
Exactly. They start offering $15 a month memberships to steal your base. What happens when market saturation hits?
Yeah, if your only lever is basic dues, you are subject to brutal price wars and staggering attrition rates.
You're just competing in a race to the bottom, and there's always someone willing to charge less than you.
Always. So, to counter this, the white paper is very specific about the antidote, which is smart diversification. You have to give the buyer and the business more ways to win.
And we aren't just talking about putting a rack of branded t-shirts by the front door.
No, no, no. Thomas highlights substantial secondary revenue streams. Things like dedicated recovery services with cold plunges and saunas.
Those are huge right now.
Yeah, or high-ticket paid transformation challenges. Specialized youth performance training, lucrative corporate wellness contracts.
Even a model where you rent out floor space to independent personal trainers.
Yeah, but there is a vital caveat here, right?
Yes. Diversification does not mean chaos. You can't just throw 10 random programs at your staff and hope one magically makes money.
Right. You need focus.
It means building trackable, profitable, repeating streams of income. And this plays directly into a critical valuation metric, which is revenue per square foot.
So, yeah.
How efficiently is this business extracting actual profit from its physical footprint?
I'm glad you brought that up because the math behind revenue per square foot is fascinating. Walk us through how a buyer looks at a massive, busy facility versus a smaller, specialized one.
Okay, so imagine you have a massive 10,000 square foot facility packed with budget memberships.
Sounds like a success on the surface.
Exactly. You walk in, it looks incredibly busy. All the treadmills are taken. The parking lot is completely full.
Yeah.
But because they only charge $20 a month, and the overhead for heating, cooling, and equipment maintenance on 10,000 square feet is astronomical.
The margins must be tiny.
The actual profit margins are paper thin.
So they're working incredibly hard, servicing thousands of people just to break even.
Precisely. Now compare that to a smaller boutique studio, maybe 2,500 square feet.
Okay, much smaller.
They charge premium membership rates. They have dialed-in high-ticket personal training. They offer specialized nutrition coaching, and they have premium recovery add-ons.
So they take up a quarter of the space.
They take up a quarter of the space, they have a quarter of the overhead, but they generate double the actual net profit.
Wow. Yeah, a sophisticated buyer is going to aggressively pursue that efficiency.
Because it's a vastly superior business model.
But here is the catch. All of those diversified revenue streams and all of that incredible efficiency mean absolutely nothing if the buyer can't make sense of your books.
Don't even get me started on the books.
Which brings us to the third pillar, clean financials.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, messy numbers kill deals faster than a bad location, poor equipment, or a new competitor ever will.
Really? More than a new competitor?
Oh, absolutely. You could have the most loyal community in the city, the best training staff, and a stunning aesthetic.
Yeah.
But if your profit and loss statements, your P&Ls, look like they were thrown together the night before, the buyer will walk away.
I want to be fair and empathetic to gym owners here, though. In years 1, 2, and 3 of opening a facility, you are in pure survival mode.
Totally. It's a grind.
Right. And the line between your personal life and the business basically doesn't exist. So running personal expenses through the business account feels totally normal.
It's extremely common.
You pay for your personal cell phone, the family dinners, maybe a car lease, or even a vacation through the company accounts, thinking you are just being, tax efficient.
Right, tax efficient. But Thomas highlights that to a buyer, this is a nightmare.
Why is it such a nightmare?
It is a nightmare because it completely muddies the water. Now, typically, an accountant can do something called normalization.
Okay.
This is where they identify those personal expenses and add them back to the profit line to show the true earning power of the business.
These are called add backs.
Exactly, add backs.
So the owner thinks, no problem. I ran my $5,000 family trip to Disney World through the business, but the accountant just added back, so the buyer sees the real profit.
Right, they think it's no big deal.
So what's the harm?
The harm is the friction it creates and the devastating math of the multiplier effect. Let's start with the friction.
Okay, let's hear it.
Instead of clear professional financials, handing a buyer a messy P&L is like handing someone a complex baking recipe where half the ingredients are written in English, half are written in French. And the oven temperatures are just completely missing. The buyer has to play detective to figure out what the gym actually earned versus what you spent on your lifestyle.
That sounds exhausting for a buyer.
It is. And when buyers are confused, they don't assume you are just a little disorganized. They assume the absolute worst.
That you're hiding something.
Exactly. They assume you are hiding something, and that distrust kills deals.
Okay, the recipe analogy perfectly captures the frustration. But talk to me about this multiplier effect, because I think this is the ultimate aha moment of the entire white paper.
Yeah, this part is crucial. Businesses are generally valued on a multiple of their profit. Let's say gyms in your category are selling for a 3x multiple.
Okay, so 3 times profit.
Right. If you push a $5,000 personal vacation through your business expenses, you didn't just lower your profit by $5,000 for that year.
Wait.
Because of the 3x multiple, you just literally erased $15,000 from the final sale price of your gym.
Wow. When you put it in those terms, that tax-efficient dinner just cost you triple the price and lost equity. That is staggering.
It is. It really wakes people up. To remove that fear and protect your valuation, Thomas says you need to hand a prospective buyer a pristine, undeniable package.
What does that package look like?
3 years of clean, normalized P&Ls. 3 years of tax returns that actually perfectly match those P&Ls.
Imagine that.
Right. And deeply organized EFT draft histories so they can verify the recurring revenue.
Handing over that kind of organized, transparent data instantly shifts the power dynamic.
Exactly.
It signals ultimate professionalism and says, I am a serious business operator, and this is a premium asset.
Yes, exactly.
So, if we follow the logic here, the operations run without the owner.
Yeah.
The revenue is diversified and efficient.
Yeah.
The financials are squeaky clean and trustworthy. The internal house is in order. Now, the buyer looks outward. How does the market perceive this business, and what is its future potential?
This transition is crucial because buyers aren't just buying the revenue the gym generated yesterday.
Right.
Once they trust the past numbers, they immediately look for indicators of future stability and growth.
So what does this all mean for the owner who's ready to step away? Because this brings up a fascinating psychological phenomenon that Thomas calls maintenance mode.
Ah, yes. Maintenance mode.
Why do owners who have been grinding away and building this great asset for 10 years suddenly stop trying right before they want to sell?
It's pure human nature. The owner has mentally checked out.
Yeah, they're already on that beach in Hawaii.
Exactly. They've made the emotional decision that they want to exit, so they unconsciously tighten the purse strings and preserve the remaining energy.
Makes sense,
Okay.
honestly.
It does. But they stop aggressively marketing. They delay upgrading the worn-out pads on the strength equipment. They stop investing in staff education, and they let the local partnerships fade.
They basically just try to coast across the finish line.
Right. And Thomas identifies this as a fatal error.
It's like deciding to sell your house and immediately letting the front lawn die, ignoring the peeling paint on the porch, and leaving the dishes in the sink during an open house.
Such a good analogy.
You were just inviting low-ball offers.
Exactly. A tired gym is incredibly easy to discount. When a buyer walks in, they don't just look at the spreadsheet.
No, they feel the vibe.
They feel the lack of energy on the floor. They see the stale, outdated branding. They notice the front desk staff looks bored.
And they immediately start subtracting hundreds of thousands of dollars of value in their heads.
Because they see a massive, expensive rehabilitation project that they are going to have to fund out of their own pocket.
Which ties directly into the fourth pillar, building a brand moat. The white paper explicitly says obscurity is expensive.
That is such a powerful phrase.
Right. Obscurity is expensive.
The brand needs to stand on its own 2 feet in the community, entirely separate from the founder's personal reputation.
So what does a buyer want to see?
A buyer wants to see that you have deep, entrenched local partnerships. They want to see active ties to corporate wellness programs in the area, and they want to see a mountain of strong, recent Google reviews.
They need proof that the local market trusts the business entity itself, not just the guy or girl who started it.
Exactly. The business has to be the star.
Which perfectly sets up the fifth and final pillar, growth potential. I love how Thomas emphasizes that the upside you present to a buyer must be believable.
Believable is the key word there.
What does that mean in practice? Because it feels like every seller who lists a business says, oh, the potential here is huge. You just have to work hard and market it better.
Every single seller says that, which is exactly why vague optimism has zero cash value to a buyer. Believable upside, on the other hand, creates urgency and competition among buyers. Believable upside means pointing to specific, highly tangible opportunities that the buyer can execute on day one.
The white paper gives some fantastic concrete examples of this. It's the difference between saying we could get more members versus showing a buyer, look, we have a pristine database of 2,000 past leads and former members that we have never put into an automated reactivation campaign.
Yes. That's exactly it. Or showing the buyer the facility floor plan and saying, we have 1,500 square feet of completely underused storage space in the back.
Just sitting there.
Just sitting there. It is already perfectly zoned and plumbed, and it is ready for a high-margin recovery service build-out that could add $100,000 to the bottom line.
Or pointing out that you haven't even scratched the surface of modern operational technology.
Right, like AI.
Yeah, showing a buyer that simply implementing AI-led follow-up software or turning on an automated digital referral campaign for existing members could instantly boost conversion rates by 20%.
You are essentially handing the buyer a treasure map where X marks the spot for immediate, low-hanging growth.
You are handing them a business that is primed for scale, not a rescue mission on life support.
Completely different proposition.
So we've thoroughly covered the 5 pillars: owner independence and transferability, diversified and efficient revenue, clean and normalized financials, a strong independent brand moat, and highly believable growth potential.
That's the list.
Now, for the listener who is sitting there looking at their messy P&L and realizing they're the only one who knows how to fix the broken treadmill.
Yeah, that's a tough realization.
This can feel incredibly overwhelming. Where on earth do they start?
Jim Thomas provides a highly practical, actionable 90-day roadmap to start turning your gym into a sellable asset today.
Okay, 90 days.
And he breaks it down into 3 specific 30-day sprints.
Yeah.
The psychological order of these sprints is vital. Days 1 through 30 are exclusively about documenting and diagnosing.
So you aren't actually changing anything or launching new programs in month 1. You are just facing reality.
Exactly. You locate the missing financial reports, you pull a month's worth of staff schedules, you sit down and ruthlessly list every single daily task that is utterly dependent on you.
Wow.
Every time an employee says, I need to ask the owner, you document it. You have to diagnose the disease before you can prescribe the cure.
Which leads into days 31 through 60, which are for organizing and systemizing.
This is the heavy lifting.
This is where you actually sit down and write those standard operating procedures. You clean up the reporting so the recipe isn't written in 2 different languages anymore.
Right.
You finally untangle your personal expenses from the business accounts so the multiplier effect works in your favor.
Writing SOPs is tedious, hard work. but it is the work that buys your freedom.
Yeah.
Once the foundation is stable and the systems are running, you move to the final sprint.
Which is days 61 through 90.
Yes, days 61 through 90 are for growing and strengthening. Now you get to go on the offensive.
This is where you launch that automated campaign to reactivate those 2,000-old leads. This is where you run a pilot test on a brand new revenue stream, like a 6-week high-ticket nutrition challenge.
This 90-day sprint does something truly magical to the psychology of the founder. It forces you to stop operating in the business as an exhausted, highly paid employee and start operating on the business as a strategic investor.
It fundamentally changes your relationship with your own company.
It really does.
And it leads to a final, profound reflection derived straight from the source material that I think every single listener needs to sit with tonight.
Absolutely.
Every single day, your gym is telling a story to potential buyers, even if you haven't officially put it on the market yet. People are reading your Google reviews, they are observing the condition of your equipment, they are feeling the energy of your staff, and they are noticing whether you are frantic or calm.
That's so true.
What story is your gym telling right now? Is it a story of momentum, professional systems, and incredible opportunity? Or is it a story of burnout, messy finances, and neglect? Because the real question you should be asking yourself isn't, can I sell my gym someday? The real question is, am I building a business today that someone would be incredibly excited to buy tomorrow? Remind listeners to contact Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 or jthomas@fmconsulting.net. Also, be sure to check out our sponsor, Gym Business Manager, for the best gym software. Check them out at gymbusinessmanager.com.